All right, let's get right into it. If you still think of golf as that quiet, kind of stuffy sport where everyone has to whisper, you might want to look again. The game is having this huge pop culture moment right now, and believe me, it is louder and way more exciting than ever. We're going to break down exactly what's driving this whole new golf boom.
And this quote from producer Chad Mom it nails it, right? For so long, golf had this reputation for being, well, let's face it, a little dull. But events like the Ryder Cup have become these amazing moments where that old, quiet vibe just gets completely thrown out the window.
And no, that's not an exaggeration. We're talking to roaring crowds, really intense rivalries, and this electric energy that feels more like a Super Bowl than a calm walk on the course. What was once the gentleman's game is becoming a full-on, must-see spectacle.
Now, this isn't the first time golf has been super popular. But to really get what makes today's boom so different, we've got to rewind a little bit and look at the old playbook for how the sport used to grow.
For decades, golf's popularity pretty much relied on what you could call the superstar effect. You'd have one magnetic, totally dominant player who would just capture the world's attention, and their fame would pull the entire sport up with them, bringing millions of new fans along for the ride.
I mean, you can see the pattern so clearly on this timeline. The 60s? That was the age of Arnold Palmer and his charisma. The late 90s and 2000s were completely defined by the Tiger Woods phenomenon. Each massive boom was tied to one person. But today, that single icon isn't there. And that tells us that this current boom is being powered by something else entirely.
So, if it's not a superstar player driving the bus, then what is it? Well, the answer is content. The main thing fueling golf's explosion right now is this massive wave of new media that is completely changing how we see and consume the game.
And the strategy behind all of this new content is honestly, it's brilliant. Shows like Full Swing on Netflix, they weren't just made for the golf nerds. No, they were designed to pump up the drama, build these fascinating characters, and tell stories that could hook anyone, even people who have never watched a single tournament in their life.
And just look at how diverse this new media is. You've got these binge-worthy docu-series on Netflix, the comeback of a movie icon like Happy Gilmore, live comedy shows before tournaments, and even top pros like Bryson DeChambeau becoming huge YouTube stars in their own right. Golf is literally coming at us from every angle of pop culture.
Okay, so this brings us to the biggest question of all. What makes this boom so fundamentally different from the eras of Tiger Woods or Arnold Palmer? It all boils down to this. Today's boom is a grassroots, consumer-led movement. Unlike in the past where one superstar pulled everyone in from the top down, this new wave is bubbling up from the ground. The audience itself is driving the change.
Just think about this comparison for a second. The Tiger boom was top-down. It was driven by one guy, and you watched it on regular TV. The current boom is bottom-up. It's driven by a whole community, you watch it on Netflix and social media, and it's way more accessible through places like Topgolf. The entire model has been flipped on its head.
So how does someone even become a golf fan today? It's a totally new path. Maybe you see your favorite athlete, someone like LeBron, posting about his new golf obsession. That makes you curious, so you try a fun, low-pressure place like Topgolf with your friends. Then you binge Full Swing to get to know the players, and next thing you know, you're following golf creators on Instagram. It's a fandom built from culture, not just from watching the competition.
All these changes, the new content, the easier access, this grassroots energy, it all leads to one massive cultural shift that we really need to talk about.
For at least 60 years, golf has carried this stigma, right? It was seen as this exclusive, expensive sport for a select group of people, something that wasn't really for the average person. But that wall is starting to crumble.
Here's the thing. As producer Chad Mum points out, famous people have always played golf. The real difference, the game changer, is that now it's public. They're proudly posting about their love for the game for millions of people to see.
And that's what's so powerful. When a cultural titan like LeBron James publicly dives headfirst into golf, it sends a message. It says, hey, this game isn't just for one type of person anymore. Those old, stuffy stereotypes are finally starting to fade away. Which leaves us with this final, massive question. With this whole new way of becoming a fan, one that's driven by content and culture, and with its old stigmas being torn down by a new, diverse generation of fans, has golf finally shed its exclusive past to become a sport for everyone? It's definitely something to think about the next time you see it taking over your feed.